I was at an open mic and I was looking at my phone because at that particular moment the person on stage wasn't me. And I noticed that George Carlin was trending yet again. It was that Larry King clip where it sounds like he's dissing Andrew Dice Clay. It's that clip that's often used as an argument against comedy. And I think it's taken out of context, but that's not the point. I turned to my friend, who's a comedian I respect, and I asked him, hey, who do you think's funnier, Dice or George Carlin? And without blinking an eye, he said Dice. And I realized George Carlin might be the most overrated comedian of all time.
You got these people around you. The country's full of them now. People walking around all day long, worried about everything. Worried about the air, worried about the water, worried about the soil. Worried about pesticides, insecticides, food additives, carcinogens, worried about radon gas, worried about asbestos.
Worried about childhood poverty, which skyrocketed overnight. Worried about war, jobs, healthcare, viruses, fascism, climate change. You know what I'm worried about right now? I'm worried that this is a setup that's missing a punchline.
Worried about saving endangered species. Let me tell you about endangered species, all right? Saving endangered species is just one more arrogant attempt by humans to control nature. It is arrogant meddling. It's what got us in trouble in the first place. Doesn't anybody understand that? Interfering with nature. Over 90%, way over 90% of all the species that have ever lived on this planet, are gone. They're extinct. We didn't kill them all. They just disappeared. That's what nature does. They disappear these days at the rate of 25 a day, regardless of our behavior, I mean. Irrespective of how we act on this planet, 25 species that were here today will be gone tomorrow. Let them go gracefully.
What about bees? Bees are going extinct because of pesticides. He mentioned that, pesticides. You know, bees, they pollinate plants. No bees, no plants. No plants, no people. When I was a kid, I used to be scared to death of bees. I'm not so scared anymore because I don't see them around. Last time I saw one was about 5 years ago. He was hovering about a foot away from me. He looked at me, coughed twice, and then fell down dead. You know, right now, you are 50% less likely to even see a bee than you were in 1974. Incidentally, 1974 was about the last time this guy was interesting. Not funny, but he was interesting. In a Shel Silverstein kind of way, in a Rod McEwen sort of way. He'd show up on the Mike Douglas show and recite a silly poem about how much he loved to have long hair. And people were amused.
Leave nature alone. Haven't we done enough? We're so self-important. So self-important. Everybody's going to save something now. I'll save the trees, save the bees, save the whales, save those snails. And the greatest arrogance of all, save the planet. What? Are these fucking people kidding me? Save the planet? We don't know how to take care of ourselves yet. We haven't learned how to help one another. We're going to save the fucking planet? I am getting tired of that shit. I'm tired of fucking Earth Day. I'm tired of these fucking self-righteous environmentalists. I'm tired of these white, liberal, bourgeois, liberal, white people who think the only thing wrong with this planet is there aren't enough bicycle paths.
We're about a minute, 51 seconds, and I think we hit our first joke. I think. It seems a little incoherent. Environmentalists are demanding bicycle pads. I don't know what a bicycle pad is, but I'm fairly certain that that's a joke. Here's a joke for you I wrote, just for you guys. How many magicians does it take to screw in a light bulb? Who cares about their sex lives? How'd they get inside of that light bulb? Bicycle pads.
Trying to make the world safe and clean for their Volvos. And I'm really sick of these rock stars and movie stars going to work off their cocaine guilt by saving a forest somewhere. Besides, there's nothing. First of all, the environmentalists don't give a shit about the planet. They don't care about the planet. Not in the abstract, they don't. You know what they're interested in? A clean place to live. Their own habitat.
You mean the planet?
They're worried that someday in the future they might be personally inconvenienced. Narrow, unenlightened self-interest doesn't impress me. Besides, there's nothing wrong with the planet. The planet is fine. The people are fucked.
Yeah, I don't know how much he thought this through when he was writing it, but when people say we need to save the planet for future generations, it's kind of automatically implied that they're referring to people. In fact, I would suggest that that's most of the reason why people want to save the planet. Because it's an ecosystem. That's your man. This is the guy you want to put on your Mount Rushmore of comedy. You know what this is? This is climate denial. You know what this is? This is Fox News with a ponytail. This is nihilism. I've heard about AIDS tests that are more positive than what I'm hearing. Nihilism is not social criticism. Nihilism is a lack of social criticism. Nihilism is a lack of empathy. Nihilism is a lack of action. And if it's not funny, nihilism is boring.